Brian Clausain, and this is 3-Minute Meals straight from the parsonage. But it's Thanksgiving week this week. We've got our turkey out and it's thawing, and we can't make a Thanksgiving dinner in 3 minutes or even in 10. So this week we're not going to do cooking. Instead, I'm going to share a little reflection with you, some memories of Thanksgiving from when I was much younger, growing up in a parsonage about 250 miles north of here up in Humboldt County. This year, when we gather, it'll be my wife and I, our daughter Sarah, home from college, our son Jesse and his girlfriend will come over. Our son Sam will be down in Texas, hopefully finding somewhere to get some turkey and celebrate down there. He might be working, he's an EMT down in Texas. But as we sit around on Thanksgiving Day, we will have much to be thankful for this year, for our family and for our lives that we now lead. But I had little to be thankful for when I was 12 years old, let me tell you. So I thought. There were 9 of us around the big dining room table that Thanksgiving. It was embarrassing. We could barely all fit into this single pew for the Thanksgiving service at church. If it hadn't been for the fact that my father was in the pulpit and my oldest brother was the acolyte, we probably would not have made it. And this latest addition, my baby brother, people smiled and said how cute he was. I felt they were being polite to the point of absurdity. He was, in all frankness, bald and fat, and I knew it was only a matter of time before there would be 3 of us crammed into the upstairs bedroom that I already had to share with my 9-year-old little brother. I had little to be thankful for when I was 12 years old. I was a middle child, 3 older and 3 younger. My oldest brother was 16 years old that year, old enough to use big words, and once in a while he even seemed to win a debate with my parents, and I wondered if I would ever be able to converse in such an adult manner. I doubted it. I was closest in age to my sister, who had just turned 14 that fall. She didn't have much to be thankful for either. After all, our parents were squares. That was obvious to anyone. My mother persecuted my sister about the length of her dresses. This was back in 1965, miniskirts were in. Her taste in makeup and her devil-may-care attitude about older boys. I wasn't persecuted, I was pretty much just ignored. The attention all went to my 4-year-old sister and my 1-year-old little brother. Attention, but not discipline, let me tell you. My parents, after the first 5 of us, must have decided that discipline of children was either ineffective or not worth the effort, because my 2 youngest siblings seemed to thrive in an atmosphere of total liberation of well-established family norms. At Thanksgiving dinner, they were not even required to try at least a little of everything, nor to clean their plates before dessert was just gladly served up to them. They're only babies, my mother explained. However, none of the rest of us had enjoyed the luxury of such babyhood. No, not much to be thankful for that Thanksgiving of my 12th year. I was awkward, prone to embarrassing myself. My parents had just recently allowed me to grow my hair out from the babyish crew cut that had accentuated my rather large and oddly shaped head. My father, however, insisted on continuing as my barber, and his efforts at stylish cuts only provided something for the girls at school to giggle about on the playground. Why me? Sitting there around the Thanksgiving table at 12 years old, my older brothers conversing in an adult way about high school happenings and cars and sports, my older sister silently living in her own adolescent female world of things mysterious and unknown to me. My younger brothers and sister carelessly unaware of the trials and tensions that would soon enough be upon them, me, stuck in the middle. My siblings They were all endowed with a variety of rather striking talents, musical and athletic. In order to compliment me, my parents would call me mature for my age. I wasn't mature, I was withdrawn. There were 9 of us around the table. The turkey was good, but the dressing, made of bread that was no longer fit to be used for sandwiches, mixed together with little bits of celery and other unknown ingredients, had to be endured rather than enjoyed, as did the deep red Jell-O that was shaped exactly like the inside of a Campbell's soup can. Cranberry sauce, they told me. Well, it didn't look like any kind of sauce to me, and so I refused to sample it. My mother and father sat at either end of the long table. I sat to the right of my mother, a place that I still occupy sometimes at family gatherings due to my left-handedness that I share with my father. We endured religion far above the amount required of the average family, I was sure. Prayers before and after every meal, and not just one prayer, but whole strings of them, one after the other. Reading from the New Testament after breakfast, and then my devotions or little visits with God after dinner. We sang too. Granted, there were enough of us to form a small choir, but it seemed a painful way to extend meal times, especially when the singing often consisted of obscure hymns from the Lutheran hymnal that my father had for some reason or another grown unexplainably attached to. With the Lord begin thy task, or let all things now living rejoice in thanksgiving. I can still sing them in my sleep, and yes, they are some of my favorite hymns today. I hesitate to account that fact to those forced sing-alongs of my youth. And then there were the circle prayers after every dinner. Each of us, from eldest to youngest, required to offer up at least a sentence of petition or thanksgiving at the close of the devotional reading. Well, one spent less time listening to the words of little visits with God and more time trying to firmly implant that one sentence prayer in one's mind for the moment it would be required. Whoever read the devotions would begin the ritual, and then clockwise around the table each would follow. My oldest brothers could produce 2- and 3-sentence prayers that seemed to fit in with the theme of the evening's devotions. I envied them for that. My older sister was brief, usually a single sentence, but at least she didn't repeat herself from night to night as I knew that I was doing. Invariably, the person sitting next to me would steal my prayer, so that I either had to repeat myself or repeat the same petition that they did and sound like some kind of a copycat, or fumble quickly for another and sound like I was ill-prepared. My mother always sounded sincere, sometimes emotional as she prayed, usually for the welfare of others. My father prayed long, sounded a lot like a sermon. Little to be thankful for at 12 years old, except, I guess, for the fact that I sat surrounded by a family that knew how to love, and forgive, to argue, and sing, and pray together. Little to be thankful for, except, I guess, for the fact that my mother tucked me in each night, stood in the upstairs hall to lead prayers coming from beneath the covers and out of the various rooms that we occupied. Little to be thankful for, except, I guess, for the fact that my relationship with each of my siblings was unique and special. Little to be thankful for, except, I guess, the continuing nurturing of faith, the exposure to prayer, the developing awareness of God's presence in my life. That has brought me finally to where I stand today. Little to be thankful for, except, I guess, grace unending, joy overflowing, blessings that were so close to me that I couldn't even see them. Little to be thankful for, no. Much to be thankful for. Much more than I recognized at the time. Looking back, I can see it, recognize it, and acknowledge it. Looking back, I can even long to taste the taste of 12 years old once again, in order to more adequately appreciate and experience the blessings of that time in my life. This is, I hope, not only my own story that I am telling to you today, but it is, in a way, all of our stories. It is what Thanksgiving is all about for Christians. It is about remembering and naming and bringing to the here and now the gifts of our lives, the gifts of relationships, of family, of loved ones, of warm memories, and laying them at the altar of God, from whom we Christians believe all good gifts proceed. We give our thanksgiving by recognizing what we have to be thankful for and what we have had to be thankful for throughout our lives. We give our thanksgiving by embracing the gifts that God gives and acknowledge them as valuable, as priceless, and acknowledging God as the giver. Not luck, not good fortune, but the hand of God. We give our thanksgiving by opening our arms and being God's gifts to one another, to our children, our parents, to the poor and the hungry, to the stranger in the street. We become the avenues through which others are able to give thanks and to recognize that the thanks is to the God of grace, who sent his Son to bless us with his presence and with the means to everlasting life and union with him. I had much to be thankful for at 12 years old. Some of it I saw, much of it I didn't. God grant me the grace to open my eyes and see today the blessings of my life, to embrace them, to share them, to give thanks. Happy Thanksgiving, straight from the parsonage. We'll be back next week with a 3-minute meal.